Hey guys, so this is Mr. Kuykendall. I'm going to be making this video about MLA formatting for the papers that you turn in this class. This is something that we have walked through a couple times in class, but I find that these kind of video resources are usually good for those of you who are maybe doing it last minute, or you're not in class and you simply want to watch a video instead of having me take up work time. So this is the MLA formatting as of the year 2026. I'm starting with just a base document with filler text. All right, so there's nothing real on this. This is just about formatting, not necessarily about evidence integration or thesis building or any of the other things that we've covered in class. All right, so what we start with here is we have a base document. I know that a lot of you may be further on in the process. You've already done a draft, so you've got some formatting. You may not be starting from this point. So just watch the video though, and you'll kind of figure out where, at what point you need to jump on to get your formatting correct before the submission. All right. Now, if you're starting with absolutely nothing, right? The base document, this, when I copy and pasted it in, it gave me open sans, right? We know that's not the right typeface or anything like that. But the default document margins and everything should be correct, all right? So if you ever want to check that, you can come over here to File, and then come down to, oh, sorry, my menu's in the way, Page Setup. And you want to make sure that you're writing in a letter 8.5 by 11 and your margins are 1 inch on all sides. Okay, so that should always be your base. If for some reason the document isn't, you need to change that document to those settings to have the correct MLA formatting. All right, now if you already have text on the page, you'll have to select all the text on the entire page to make sure that the page settings, if you alter them, match everything. We've already done that a couple times in class, but just a reminder to select all of the text. And I kind of wish I could show the keystrokes. I don't know how to do that here. Let's see if I can find a button that tells me how to share keystrokes. Nope. So we're just going to go without it. Not a problem. Okay, so I will turn on a highlight cursor thing so that you can see that. But so essentially, if you hit Control A, and I think it's the same on Mac. I can't remember if it's Control or if it's their Command button. But Mac users, you guys, probably already know your own keystrokes. Control A will select all the text within a domain. So in this page, it's now selected all the text. So if I had to change the page settings and stuff, I could. What we're going to do right now is we're going to change our typeface. This is not the Times New Roman 12 point that we're supposed to have. So I'm going to come up here, and in this font menu, which is a drop down, there's two sections. There's the recent and then the full section down here. Now, if you have used Times New Roman recently, you'll see it right here and you can select it. If you haven't, then you'll have to scroll down here. It's listed alphabetical, so just scroll all the way down to Times New Roman and select it. That way you have that as an option. Then you want to come over here to font size. You want to select 12 point. And now we have a typeface that is what we need it to be. But remember, we need this to be double spaced for anything we turned in. So on my bar, I have an ellipses here because my bar is a little bit larger with options and things like that, so it doesn't fit everything on here. I think on your guys' laptops, you might have the button over here. The button you're looking for is for line and paragraph spacing. All right, so you're going to click on line and paragraph spacing, and you want to make sure that double space is selected. All right. Now, another thing that I've noticed in some of your guys' papers as I'm editing or as I'm giving comments on your drafts is that you guys have selected justified alignment, which is not correct. There's nothing in this class that should have justified alignment. That's changed right here in the align and indent menu. So if you click this button, all right, you're going to have 4 options: left align, center align, right align, and justified. Left align is what the body text of your document and your heading should be. So you want to go ahead and select that if it doesn't look like this. Center is what you're going to select for whatever title you use for your document, and we'll actually end up using right align a little bit later. All right, so right now we have a bunch of text, right? These are I think 6 paragraphs of text for a paper. All right, Next thing we need to do, we need to go up and put your last name in the header. And I've had a lot of students who, for whatever reason, their computer doesn't have a header, or their document doesn't have a header or anything like that. Normally, all you have to do is you take your cursor, you double click up here, and it should open the header. So if it did that for you, great. If not, okay, then what you need to do is come up here to Insert, scroll down to Page Elements, and then select Header. And it will create a header even if you didn't have one. Okay, so you should find yourself here with a blinking cursor. You're going to type your last name. As always, my example is Jane Smith. So I am Jane Smith. I'm going to type my last name. I'm going to hit space. And then I'm going to come over here to Options, and I'm going to click Page Numbers. I'm not going to mess anything with this pop-up, all right? Everything is already set up the way that I want it. And I'm going to click Apply. Now, I should have my name with a space and a number with a gray box over it. The reason the gray box is there is that it tells you that's a macro, like a small computer program, so that I know every page on my document as it progresses will progress that number. First page is 1, second page is 2, and so on and so forth. If you don't have that gray box, you need to redo this, okay? I'm going to go ahead and hit Control A again, just like this, so I can select all my text. I need to make this Times New Roman 12 point, which is something a lot of you forget, and yes, you lose points for it. So you come up here to the menu. If I'd selected it before from the alphabetical, I should now have it here in my recents. So I click Times New Roman. I also need to make it 12 point, and I also need to make it right aligned. Like I mentioned, we were going to use that. So I come back over here to this button, the Align and Indent button. I'm going to click this, and I'm going to select Right Align. All right, once it looks like this, I'm going to click out of it so I don't mess up anything. Now, I'm at the top of my document. I'm going to hit Enter a couple of times. I'm going to come right up here, and I'm going to start my heading. Right now, up here is the header. This is the heading. Heading always starts with the student's name. Whatever your chosen name is, you need a first and a last name for this. So for my example, I am Jane Smith. Then I'm going to hit Enter once and only once. Then it's my teacher's name. All right, so you can use Mr. Kuykendall. You can use Mrs. Kearns if she's your teacher, whoever your teacher is, and then whatever honorific they have. I am Mr. Kuykendall, so you type Mr. Kuykendall. Mrs. Kearns is Mrs. Kearns, so it would be MRS Kearns. If you're doing this and your teacher is like a doctor or like a PhD or anything like that, you would type Dr. whoever. All right. Then I hit Enter once. After that, I need my class. Now, I know that this is one video for all the classes, so I'm just going to use one of my class things. So let's say this is for 4th period English, which is an English regular class. It would be ENG space P, capital P, 4 space R. That is English 4th period regular. If my 4th period English was honors, right, it would be ENG space P4 space H. Okay. Then I hit Enter, and then I enter the date. Now, the date for MLA is very specific. Today is the 8th of January. If today's the day I'm turning it in, then I would type 8 January 2026. All right. They want a day, month, year format, and they want the month written out just like that. Okay. I'm agnostic if you want to write 8th January. 8 or 8th is fine. But the thing to remember, this is the date of submission. So whatever day you're turning this in, if your assignment is due on the 8th of January and you're turning it in on the 8th of January, awesome, you're good. If your assignment is due on the 8th of January and you turn it in on, say, the 9th of January or the 10th of January, you need to update this accordingly. All right, this should be the date of submission, whatever day you turn it in. Then I need some kind of title. And as always, I'm agnostic on your title. I'm not too worried about it. If you just want to write the type of paper that it is and paper, that's fine. If you want to go one step further, this is during a time when my students are doing a Mars research paper, that's fine. If you want to say, you know, something pithy and funny, see, and always make sure you're only capitalizing the first letter of each word. All right, so that's a reference to the Rovers. I don't know if that's still going to be funny or if it's even funny now. Once you have some kind of title, okay, you're going to come up here to the align and indent, all right, which should be up here, and you're going to center align your title and only your title. I get a lot of papers where people have accidentally selected all their text and then the whole paper is center aligned, all right? So we have our last name. We have a page number. We have a heading. You'll notice there are no extra spaces between the heading and the title and between the title and the body text, all right? MLA is very simple. Another thing that I've noticed is a lot of people put extra spaces between their paragraphs. MLA does not have that, all right? As soon as I end one paragraph on the next line, the next paragraph begins, okay? All right. Couple other things to do. We are going to now set up our indents. Now, yes, you could go through your paper and hit tab and indent each of your paragraphs individually, but I feel that we should let the document do the work for us. So I'm going to highlight my body text. You can do this by putting your cursor on the first word, coming all the way down to the last word. Hover your cursor after the last word, hold shift, then hit click. Now, just the body text, not my heading, not my title, have been selected. I'm going to come up here to Format, and I'm going to go to Align Indent. This gives me a pop-up menu. I'm going to come here to Indentation Options. Now, with my body text selected, I should have 0, 0. Then I should select Special Indent. I'm going to select first line. I'm going to select 0.5. All right. Now I have a properly formatted paper. All right. Except this is a research paper. So I've got one more thing that I need to do. All right. Now, as always, we're working in Noodle Tools. That's where you're putting your evidence. That's what exports. I have to be honest. I use this for my graduate work. It is the simplest solution. Now, remember, just because you auto import doesn't mean that this entry is correct. Always double check your entries that you actually have your authors and your sources and everything correct. But in terms of generating a properly formatted, works cited, or annotated bibliography, Noodle Tools is about as simple as it gets. Once you have all your sources, okay, I have all my sources in here. I'm going to come up to this button right here. I'm going to click on Export Print. I'm going to select Google Docs. A lot of you, for some reason, try to copy and paste from this screen. Don't do that. You're going to come up here to this button. You're going to click Export Print. You're going to click Google Docs. Don't worry about any of this. We're not denoting primary, secondary, or tertiary sources or anything else. Just click Submit. Verify that it's you. You're using your FCPS Schools account. All right, that's the one that's actually going to have access to Noodle Tools. And then I get it properly formatted. Now, as long as I don't do anything but copy and paste this, this is the correct formatting. All right, so we're going to hit Control A once more. I'm going to hit Control C. Now I've copied this into my clipboard. All right, I'm going to come over here. My cursor is on the last word of my paper. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit Control Enter. The reason why that matters is when you hit Control Enter, your document and cursor automatically go to the top of the next fresh page. Way this helps is that if for some reason my typing goes over onto another page, the document is smart enough to kick down to the next page and shift my entire thing that I paste here to the next page, so it doesn't go halfway through the page and stuff, all right? Then I'm going to hit Control V so that I have a correctly formatted works cited. Now, you'll notice my cursor ended up on the next page. I wouldn't count off for this, okay? I'd go backspace until it came up here, It looks like it's right on the edge. There we go. Right? Don't lose your periods or anything like that. But if you want to get rid of the extra page, that's fine. But I wouldn't count off for it. But you may have a teacher that does if you're using this video at any other time. All right? Now, I have a formatted research paper that is 3 pages. Remember, you have a 3-page limit on text. Your 3-page limit does not include the works cited, all right? So your works cited should be on page 4. And then the works cited begins at the very top of the next page, all right? Do not have your works cited look like this. It should be at the very top of the next page. Now, let's say for some reason, okay, that your works cited got completely messed up. Let's say that for some reason, come on, go away. All right, can I move this? I can. There we go. Sorry, I have a menu. I don't even know if it's popping up in the video. All right, so let's say that my works cited for some reason looks like this, okay, which is not properly formatted. And I've said Noodle Tools is the easiest way to do this. But let's say you don't have access to Noodle Tools anymore. We can actually format this pretty quickly. All right. If I select all of my text, I know that it needs to be Times New Roman. I know that it needs to be 12 point. Okay. I know that it should be left aligned, and I know that it should be double spaced. Here's the last bit. Okay. I'm going to center my title, Works Cited. Then I'm going to highlight just my citations. I'm going to come back to that format, align indent, indentation options, and instead of first line, I'm going to select hanging. I'm going to put in 0.5, just like I did for my first line. And now you have a properly formatted works cited that you did from scratch. Okay, that's a just in case. Let's say it's the last minute and Noodle Tools has crashed and you got to get this right, and I don't want you to lose points. You can format all your own stuff, all right? But Noodle Tools is a pretty good tool, and I feel we should use the tools we have access to, all right? So this is the kind of document that you would submit to get full points for MLA formatting in this class, all right? Okay, good luck.